Okay, people. So, Heightened. This is the new film from Sara Friedman, right? She writes and directs. Uh, the film is produced by John Herman, executive produced by Matt Ratner, and co-produced by Merrily Holt. Nick Senna handles the music. Rose Fadem-Johnston cinematography. Nicholas Wenger edits the piece. Sunday Boiling, Kendall Cooper, and Meg Mormon are on casting. Monica Dabrowski, production design. Art direction is handled by Nikki Watts. Costume design is Paula Marie Gallucci. Um, Hair and makeup is Eliza Kangloski. And then our cast. Well, Sara Friedman stars as Nora. Um, d- hmm. Okay. Um, hmm. Who should we do next? Man, it's always yeah. It's always you're thinking like, okay, who do we go to? All right, yeah, fuck it. Dusty is played by Dave Register. Susan is Sarah Clarke. Mitch is Mike Mitchell. Gordon is played by Xander Berkeley. Officer McCarthy is played by Moira Driscoll. Dr. Ja is played by Dipti Mehta. Gillian Peterson is played by Jessica Caden Osborne. Right, Paul Peterson is played by Whip Hubley, and his wife Alice is played by Catherine Graham Howe. There's Tiffany, played by Laura Darrell. Her examiner is played by Steve Galistro. Bill is played by Richard Sewell. Jim, Jody McCollum. Yeah, that's the cast. Now, the gist of the flick, people, is this. Following a mental breakdown, a young woman must return home to Maine for treatment. After she is unwillingly thrust into nature, she finds unexpected solace in the company of a neurotic park ranger who is dealing with issues of his own. So, this is actually, right? It's two things. It is the feature directorial debut from Friedman, and it's also based on a short film she made in 2015. Right? 2015. Dave Register was also in that as Dusty. So that's nice, right? Now, here's the thing, right? It's making a directorial feature debut and writing for a feature, which doing one isn't the easiest. Doing two and having it work, that's the big thing. And this does work. I really enjoyed this film. Right? Like straight out the gate, it lets you know, right? Because we have Nora. She is at home getting ready for something. You can see, right? She's got all these cards. You know she's very meticulous. The way she answers the phone to her mum and just responds to the questions and everything. You can see that, the things that she doesn't care about. It's just like, well, why? Why would I do this thing? Like, she's not the person to pretend to be, you know? And you can see her mum is. You know what I mean? Then we have her inner exam. And I thought the way that's depicted and then other incidents, that was done really well. right? It's showing the anxiety of a situation, how every noise is heightened for you. Now, it's probably not distracting other people, but for you, it is the worst thing. It's so loud. It's just there. Like they're doing it to annoy you, right? It's happening right next to you, even though it might be the other side of the room. So we see all of this, and then the way she gets up and walks, it's like slow motion and like no one else is in the room, which I think though it can feel like that, right? So all of those things let us straight in the first few minutes understand who Nora is. And I think there's something to that, you know? There is something to that. Having this young lady who is gripped in this OCD, right? This world where it's all about the detail. She's got these routines, and that's how she deals with things and copes. So I thought that was fascinating and just really well done. Then when you're seeing her parents, right, who are the complete opposite to her. And as the film goes on, we learn more about the parents in a way, right? Their dynamic and how they fit together, which is interesting because you don't get that from the very beginning. But yeah, as the film moves, you find this. And she's having to do all of these things now because she obviously got into trouble for the things she does at the start, right? So she's moved back home, living with her parents, and having to go to therapy, right? And group. And just watching her trying to navigate those things, right? Because she doesn't talk about her feelings, open up to people, right? No, we do not do that. So yeah, I think it was handled really well. It's like it definitely makes you smile watching these interactions and everything. It reminded me of like films like Ride the Eagle and Dan in Real Life. Not exactly the same, but tonally, right? It had that kind of feel to it. You could even throw in stuff like Garden States and 500 Days of Summer. You know what I mean? It had that kind of a vibe to it, right? There's little things which I put, you know what I mean? Like the uniform never really gets dirty and things like that. But that it's not really a distraction because everything else is good, really good. Just the characters. Dusty, his brother Mitch, and the rest of the crew. The parents, his friends, the Petersons. You know what I mean? Just all of those things work very well. And there's a bit where Jill, is it Jill? I think it's Jill. Yes, I believe it was Jill. Right? She tells Nora that she went to India to teach yoga. And Nora's like, wait, you went to India to teach them yoga? Right? Which, it's not to say that just because you're Indian means you know yoga. But in the kind of birthplace of yoga, right? It does sound like a funny kind of concept. So, it's just things like that just make you smile and go, oh no. But with characters like Jill, just because you see him in one instance in one way, right? There is evolution. There are other things that we see. later on. So I think that's good because, people are so nuanced, right? So even people that kind of are assholes, right? They're not always assholes, right? And I think that's what we see with this film, that there's situations that not everyone copes with the best, right? Being able to talk to people, being able to open up, right? All of those things. And right, I was looking at the list, right? Got sent all of these films to cover, and you see Heightened, and it's just like, what does that mean though? Like, heightened. I've no, like, it's not like you get a sense of what that film might be from that title. But then you watch the film, you're like, oh, of course, that makes sense. Like, heightened sense, heightened anxiety, right? That's what that is. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's a perfect fucking title. You know what I mean? So that's cool. I think it's very warming watching the interactions between Nora and Dusty, right? That friendship, watching that. I think that's really, it's nice, it's handled well, right? It's not necessarily, right, uber realistic, and just because sometimes other shit comes up, right? And when you do a certain thing, it takes a long time to get over that. But for this sort of film, right, for this kind of sweet, endearing, comedic effort, right, that is the type of relationship that works. I think you'd probably do it slightly different in a straight drama, but in this, it works. It's what is needed. And it just gives you enjoyment, gives you enjoyment. You just think the way everyone talks and, trying to work through these situations, because we do see that, which I don't think you always get, when someone goes to a therapist or something, right? It's just like, well, your issue is this. And we're like, oh, I'm cured. But no, it's not straightforward like that. We do see a process, and we see the characters trying to work things out. And sometimes everyone else knew, but it took them forever to understand. Oh, that's what's happening. Okay, right. I get it now. I understand, So yeah, I think this was done really well. And as I say, especially when you realize it's, Friedman's first feature film. I think that's like, yo, okay, you brought out a great film. There's plenty of I think there's plenty of stuff that you can watch and you can go, yeah, that was okay, right? Now, obviously, there wasn't a budget or there wasn't this, so you can see, but no, like, there's not many faults to this. It's also her feature debut as an actress. Because sometimes people, they've acted in features and big stuff, but they haven't gone behind the camera. But yeah, this is the first time on all of those things. Even though, like, the funny thing is, you do feel like you've seen her before, right? And I think it's the presence. It's just all of these things make you feel like, yeah, she's veteran at this stuff. So I will say, people, if you enjoy stuff, like mentioned, Dan in Real Life, Ride the Eagle, all of that kind of jazz, then I think you will very much like Heightened. And it is having its world premiere, right, Dances with Films on Friday, the 23rd of June at the TCL Chinese Theatre at 7:15 p.m. Obviously, people. So yeah, listen, all the links are on the all links on the website, people. So go cop yourself a ticket, follow, Sara and crew, so you can find out, if you're not in LA, right? Follow to see what this might be screening a festival that's closer to you. But yeah, people, definitely check out Heightened. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think you will too.